All right, please clap very loudly for Julianne Villa. You gotta keep it going. It takes a while to get up here. Ooh, nothing like going first. So I sat down at my computer and I thought that I would be pasting the final paragraph of my final paper of my final class of 2 years of grad school. And what I pasted accidentally ended my relationship of 6 years and my marriage of 6 months. And even though I had never taken out an ad on Craigslist, I knew immediately that I was looking at an ad taken out by a woman and some words that were the answer from my husband. So I grabbed the nearby garbage can, doubled over, and just proceeded to dry heave for an, unknown amount of time. And then I kind of sat up and I looked through some files on our computer and I found what I now would call a very awkward bathroom selfie, even though it was taken with the digital camera that I bought him for Christmas. And so I picked up the phone and called, and it was a really short conversation. I think he knew what was coming by my voice. And I said, "Come home." And 25 minutes later, he showed up, and I was sitting on the couch, and I asked questions about how long and what, and he made up things that weren't real, oh, I was just curious, and we never met, and all that kind of stuff. And this cycle kind of kept happening. I walked through my life like a zombie for a while. And about a week after that, we were supposed to move. We had been married 6 months earlier. There had been a bunch of construction to kind of redo the house, and we were supposed to move in a couple days. And so I was sitting at our dining room table, stainless steel, when he came home, and I was really thinking, this is kind of your one last chance to just give me some truth. And there were two things I told him. One, friendly reminder that my best friend was a computer forensics expert, so I could dump our computer. And two, which was that, given that my family was coming the next day to help us move some stuff, that they could take me and all of my things, and I would just disappear. And with that, all 6 foot, 200 pounds of him slumped over, and with a loud thud and a crack, his head hit the floor. And never, ever, as I walked over towards him, have I wanted to kick the shit out of someone so much in my life. But instead, I said, "Get up," and realized that he might have a concussion. So I took his weight upon my shoulder and walked him down 2 flights of stairs into the emergency room. And while we sat there for 3 hours to find out that he'd had a panic attack and didn't actually have a major concussion, I got things like emails and passwords and changed the access to our financial accounts and things like that. And I eventually found my truth, which I thought would bring me solace, but just got worse and worse. Things like he lied to me on our first date about how old he was and where he went to school. There had been an 8-month relationship. Some people were younger. There was regular meetings and many Craigslist and all that kind of thing. And I'm not proud of the fact that it took me 3 months to gain my momentum and leave. When I kicked him out, he left with a backpack of clothes. And to this day, I've seen him only once again, and that was an accidental meeting in a store. So it was me who packed up all of his clothes, and it was lawyers who eventually decided that I would put his furniture in the garage and he could come by and get it. And I really just kind of laid on the couch for those 3 months watching. We didn't have cable because we moved into that new house, and so I watched People's Court and Ricky Lake and some Oprah and whatever the hell came on PBS, which is probably how I heard about the Moth. I don't really know, or something. And so eventually, I got back to my life, which involved running. It was my running partner that made me finally get up off the couch and was like, "Dude, I need to run with somebody on the Chicago lakefront for 10 miles, so come with me." And so now I find myself single again. And my first relationships, of course, were with therapists and then with some other people. But now today, as I stand in front of you, I'm single. And my biggest fear going on a first date, which of course will be somebody I met through a personal ad, is that I will be sitting across at the table accidentally from someone else's husband. And that there's nothing that I can do to prevent that or figure that out in advance. So you'll notice that I'm fidgeting tonight, and I have this, and it's kind of my thing. So I've learned that I have to wear dresses because otherwise, all my anxiety and my desire to want his fingerprints and social security number and call mom just ooze out of me. So I wear a dress. And I also found that Spanx help, sometimes 2 pair of Spanx, and that helps for a variety of reasons, which you can imagine. And so I keep showing up. And I really have figured out that I can't control who or what sits across from me on the other side of the table. The only thing I can bring with me is a willingness to be vulnerable. And no matter what happens, one way or the other, the one thing I do know is that it'll make for a great story.